Hi there, welcome to the YouTube channel. I'm back again, and I mistakenly haven't covered one of the gods from the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. And yeah, correcting that today because you're all here because it is going to be Aclazotz, Deepest Betrayal. We're just going to go with the Betrayal, the god, the Bat God, I think, because that's going to tongue tie me. 3 and 2 black for a 4/4 with flying and lifelink, so I quite like those stats to start with. And whenever the Bat God attacks, I told you I'm going to skip it, each opponent discards a card. For each opponent who can't, you draw cards. That's quite nice. And then whenever an opponent discards a land card, you get a 1/1 Bat creature token with flying. When the god dies, we transform it into the Temple of the Dead, taps for black, and then you can pay 2 and a black to transform it back to our Bat God. But you can only do that if someone's only got 1 or less fewer cards in hand. So you've got to wait till your opponents have basically emptied their hand out. But it's a discard god, which is nice. It's also a Bat tribal leader. So the deck today is a bit of a mixture of both, because who doesn't like having bats flying around as much as they can? So here we go. As usual, just before I point out anything else, this is the deck I play online. You may want to adjust some of the cards in this deck, especially if you're trying to build it in paper, because I know some of the prices of what I'm talking about today are still up here somewhere. But online, it's not too bad. So anyway, lands. Yeah, lands are important. There's a lot of swamps in the deck. I'm not going to argue about it. We have a lot of swamps because, and Temple of the False God and Urborg. Urborg, I'd just like to point out, you can tap the Temple of the False God for black if you have Urborg in play, just so you don't worry about it. And then I've got Spawning Pool in here, so it gives us a nice little creature that is very difficult to take care of. Reliquary Tower, Path of Ancestry, so they're the usual ones, along with Fable Passage, and it's a black deck to Field of the Dead here. But this is a special mono deck. Well, it's not a special mono deck, but it's a mono black deck, which means we get something else. Usually the mono decks always have Nykthos kicking around. That's given. Mono decks have Nykthos, the end. The thing with black is you also have 2 very, very good cards, which are expensive, I believe, in real life, and they're not exactly cheap on MTGO either, but they're worth having from mono black decks. Cabal Coffers is the first one, and Cabal Stronghold's the second one. Yeah, if you can get these online and working, you're in a good space. People are probably going to wonder why Command Towers here. It's purely so I can build up Field of the Dead numbers. That's what we need to do, because we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've got about 15 different land type named lands in here compared to a normal deck that has Field of the Dead in, so it's worth having Command Tower here. So, yes, that side. The ramp side, we have got Jeweled Lotus here. This is one of the cards you can drop. Soul Rings here. And it's not too bad on the rest of it. It's just Arcane Signet, Charcoal Diamond, and, Jet Medallion, since I cast that as a ramp card. But what we want to be doing with Aclazotz is making sure our opponents are discarding and we're getting in for attacks. So, and, a few bats in the background. Hence why we have Blightkeeper, a 1/1 bat. With flying. All the bats have flying, which is nice for a change for a tribal deck. 8 mana, you can eventually sack it off and kill someone and gain 4 if you need to. Eye Twitch, nothing to learn in this deck, but it's just a 1/1, another bat with flying. I want to play it. Nat Miser is a rat, obviously it's not a bat. However, we do want to reduce our opponent's maximum hand size by 1, because that means they have to discard more cards, which means we get the Bat God online even closer. I still can't say the name. I'm really sorry if you're watching the video. I'm really sorry. Hopeless Nightmare hits the battlefield. Everyone has to discard something and lose 2 life. It's a lovely follow-off. You can play this on turn 6 and then drop this as well. You can start hitting people quite happily. Vampire Bats, we can pump it up. 2/1 flyer, it costs us a bit of mana, but we can do it. Elixir of Immortality had to be here just to shuffle everything back in as it dies. Basilica Screecher is quite nice. You do get to exhort with this, so, keep it around. Start hitting the extra couple of bits of life here and there. Soon adds up. Burglar Rat, everyone discards apart from you. Deep Cavern Bat enters the battlefield. Look at a target opponent's hand. Exile a non-land card from it until it dies. So you might have a blue control player in play, but it's just another bat. It's got lifelink, which is better. Dusthunker Bat can come in as a 2/2 for 2 mana. Just make sure you've got some damage in before it happens. Elder Disciple is another discard outlet along with Doomsayer when it dies. The Ghastly Gloom Hunter, another zombie bat, which is quite nice if you can get the kicker off. Having it come into play as a 3/3 with flying and lifelink can help keep you in the game. Grimclaw Blats, pay 1 life, pump it, as well as a black mana. Yeah, if you gained a fair amount of life with this, you can possibly pump this up and kill someone off. It's possible. Gurmag Swiftwing, flying first strike and haste on a 1/2. Yeah, okay, we'll go with that. Liliana's Caress, one of the win cons we have in the deck. Whenever an opponent discards a card, that player loses 2 life. Sheldra's Edict is here just to control the planeswalkers more than anything else that your opponents may have in play. Turak, I did a whole deck on Turak. Go back to the 31st of October if you want to see that. That was my Halloween deck for this year. But yeah, I've decided to play Turak in here as well, just because of the kicker and the gets bigger as we discard. And since we're getting people to discard, it made sense. Virus Beetle hits the battlefield. Everyone apart from you discards, and Waste Not. This has been reprinted in Wilds of Eldraine recently, so it's really cheap if you get the alternate art version from there. But I like this one. Whenever an opponent discards a creature card, you get a zombie. Whenever an opponent discards a land card, you get a couple of black. Now, obviously, in combat, difficult to use the black mana unless you're going to pump something up. Like, this one. But it still gives you a bit of mana, and especially if you do it in the main phase, it could get you another discard on the go. And whenever an opponent discards a non-creature, non-land card, you get to draw a card. It should give you a lot of bonuses to keep things going. Zombie Infestation, if you are drawing a lot of cards, it's a nice way to discard some things out of your hands to get zombie tokens. Ooh, sorry. Blighted Bat, 4 mana, 2/1 haste. No, terrible. 3 mana, 2/1 fly. Yeah, but it's still a bat, so I had to include it. Courier Bat enters the battlefield. You gain life this turn. You get to bring creature cards back from your graveyard to your hand, which can be quite useful. So you've got kind of a mini zombie fight type thing. I don't know. Foundry Screecher, +1/+0 as long as you control an artifact. So 3/1 for 3. Yeah, I'll go with that. Gloom Hunter, just a 2/1 for 3 mana. Yep, okay. Another bat. Kelnorn Bat, flying, 2/1 for 3 mana. Yep, another bat. Malachi Familiar, flying Death Touch. Whenever you gain life, it gets +1/+1 until the end of turn. Yeah, okay, that's even better. Death Touch really does sort of like give people pause to thought. And Megrim. We're making our opponents discard cards. We might as well get some damage off them when they discard those cards. Screeching Bat does transform into a vampire if we need it to. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may pay 2 if you do transform Stalking Vampire. So, you can either have a 5/5 on the ground or you can have a 2/2 in the air, depending which way you want to do it or what you need at that time. Liliana. I like Liliana, plus the fact I like getting it to flip to transform into creatures. And since we've got low toughness creatures, getting 1 to die when Liliana's in place shouldn't be that hard. And then you get the repeated discard. Ooh. Bloodhunter Bat comes in. Each target player loses 2, you gain 2. Be better if it was all opponents lost 2, but beggars can't be choosers with bats. The Baltazan Bats have got flying for 3/1 at 4 mana. Not great, they die easily, but hey hum. Ill-Gotten Inheritance, at the beginning of your upkeep, deals 1 damage to each opponent and you gain 1 life. Okay, we'll cope with that. Mirkwood Bats, whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent loses 1 life. Not really much token creation in the deck or sacrificing of tokens, but it's a 2/3 bat for 4 mana, so yeah, it's here. Raider's Wake, each opponent discards a card, that player loses 2 life, and at the beginning of your end step, if you attack this turn, target opponent discards a card. Empty someone out if you need them to. Long Reach of the Night, each opponent sacrifices a creature unless they discard, and then you get to transform it into Animus of Night's Reach, which is quite a fun one with Menace and +X+0, where X is the number of creature cards and defending players' graveyard, so it makes it hard to block. Torment of Scarabs, just put it on the most annoying player on the board. Court of Torment gives you the discard at the beginning of your upkeep every turn. Damnation to control the board. Dire Bat, just so we can do the mutation if we want to. We get plus it's a flash mutate. So 6 mana, flash it in, kill something that's going to kill you. Not the end of the world. Invasion of Innistrad, -13 to a creature. That's nice. And then when we get it killed off, we get to do exiling creature cards from graveyards and creating more zombies, which should hopefully keep us in the game. Plus, the graveyards of everyone should be quite big at this stage because of all discarding we'll be doing. Speaking of which, there's Liliana, Waker of the Dead. Each player discards a card. Yeah, okay, it affects you as well, but each opponent can't loses 3 life. If you get the -7 off, you're going to be very, very happy. Dementia Bat, we had to go with Dementia Bat just because it's another bat. I want to play all the bats I could find. 5 mana for a 2/2 is awful, I agree with that. And 5 mana to sack it off to discard 2 cards, even worse. However, if you happen to know those 2 cards are lands, you're not going to complain too much, but yeah, it's not great, I agree. Marrow Bats is also here. It's a 4/1 for 5 mana with flying. You can pay 4 life to regenerate it, so that can stick around, so that does help a bit. Banshee of the Dread Choir, when it deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card, and the Myriad really does help us push through. And the Grey Merchant of Asphalt. This is one of our main win conditions in the deck. Yeah, get a whole lot of black permanents in play, drop this, watch all your opponents grow, and as you drain their life, and your life total suddenly goes back up to some good land, as far as I'm concerned. Junni, the Midnight Sky. Yep, when it dies, get everyone to discard 2 unless there's a creature in the battlefield from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control and you lose 2 life. Nice way of getting back your Grey Merchant or something, so you've already managed what they've discarded. It's going to help you out. Necrogoyf. Yeah, power is equal to all the creature cards in all graveyards. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player discards a card. Like things being discarded like that. Sheldred. Enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature or planeswalker, and then you get to transform into the True Scriptures, which you should be able to do quite easily with this deck. And oh, that gets so nice when you do that, especially if you get up to level 3 without it being disenchanted. And Terrorgrid, God of Fright. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Probably one of the most hated black commanders currently that I play against on a regular basis. You do tend to make yourself a target when you play the Terrorgrid side of it. The Lantern side people tend to forget about. But yeah, Terrorgrid's just good. Sorry. Cruel Grimnarch comes into play. Each opponent discards a card, and if they can't, you gain 4. That's nice. Telgrid Scurrying is just another wrath effect we've got. We've got no real way of... Well, we can tap 3 bats, I suppose, to make it flashable if we want to. Yeah, and 6 mana, blow the board up, get some fairy rogue tokens with flying. That's okay, cover that. Urgos, the empty one, deals combat damage to a player. That player discards a card at random. If that player can't, you draw a card. It's 4/3 in the air for 6 mana with a nice ability. We'll live with it. Blood Money, blow the board up, get some tokens. It's the only token generation we've got, so yeah, we can use it occasionally. Herald of Anguish, improvise. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent discards a card, and then you can sack an artifact to give target creature -2/-2, but it's a 5/5 with a discard, built-in regular discard. Virtue of Persistence, -3/-3 to a creature. You gain a couple of life, and at the beginning of your upkeep, put a creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Thank you very much. Love this card from Wilds of Eldraine. I'm really pleased it exists in mono black. Last 2 cards. Archfiend of Despair. Your opponents can't gain life. And at the beginning of each end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life that that player lost that turn. This will upset your opponents. Even if you peck in with a bat for 1, that means it's going up another 1. Things happen, you know. It will upset your opponents, trust me. And Decree of Pain. 8 mana for a Wrath effect. Expensive. 8 mana for a Wrath effect that draws a card for each creature that's just been killed. Yeah, there's a reason I have a Reliquary Tower in the deck. And the cycling's not the end of the world either if you're facing a Horde deck or, you know, a mini deck. So it's pretty good. I like it. And that's it. That is my take on Aclazotz. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it right. If I'm offending anyone, I do apologise. I think it's a fun... I'm not sure which one of the 5 gods I prefer the most, to be honest. I have a thing for the green one, but at the moment, if you aren't aware, it is bugged on MTGO. So you only get one of the choices when you do it. But, you know, the black one could be there as well. So, for now, that's it from me. Please, you know, If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Trying to get up to 500 before Christmas. Sitting at 279 at the moment, so I've got a long way to go. But even if I can hit 300, I'll be happy. But yeah, please subscribe if you can. You want to see me play this deck? There's a link in the description down below me to my Twitch channel. Come and see me there. I'll be playing this deck at some stage. Well, tonight when you see this video, Thursday night when it comes out in the UK. Obviously, if you're in America, you'll have to wait a little while longer because it comes out about 7 o'clock your side. But for now, thank you for watching. Any comments, let me know. It's nice having little comments on the videos, and I do like responding to them. So for now, take care, and I'll see you when I do the next video. Bye.